Dehradun, you know, क्या ही बोलूं मतलब मैं, it's an emotion for us.
Correct, man.
Born and brought up here, you know, traveled around the world, and then we came back here.
Imagine.
So that's how it goes, you know. I would say the first successful gig, just to set some context for you guys, you know, it's not that we have not done any gigs before in Dehradun, but those were all managed by someone else. It's a larger problem that we've felt over the years. It's just the kind of lack of professionalism which exists in Dehradun and which we were kind of very fed up of also over time. And I think, you know, sound check time पे नहीं हो पा रहा है, crowd का वहाँ पे अंदर entry management नहीं हो पा रहा है, मतलब basic चीजें भी left right थी काफी सारी इससे पहले जो events हुए.
Like always, you know, like held upon, and we were always questioned that what the fuck is happening over here, you know, like.
Absolutely. And you know, gigs and all you're always doing, and you will always be held accountable for them, even if someone else is, you know, hosting them. So this time, I think the best thing that we did was that we said, fuck it, we'll do it ourselves. So I think that was the best thing. And you know, a lot of love to, you know, all the sponsors and everyone, you know, especially our hardcore audience, you know, and just love them, man. They came and they वो बजे यार, मतलब पूरा full power वहाँ के मजा ही आ गया, मतलब
पूरा. Mosh pit, bro, mosh pit.
Mosh pit scene हो गया था
completely. To see people enjoying, having fun, and
finally I got to play a good set.
Complete set for the first time.
For the first time, we did a complete set. इससे पहले हमेशा वही होता था कि बैंकर साउंड चेक नहीं हो पा रहा, ये नहीं हो पा रहा, हमारा टाइम ही खत्म हो जाता था. So finally वो भी मौका मिला, and like all the other crews and all the other rap artists that came there, everyone was excellent, man. And I think the crowd also enjoyed all the performances and our guests. It was just amazing, man. I think
simply amazing. That's the only word that we can say. Though I want to touch upon a few things that I felt could be improved, you know, while we were doing, and also like how Dehradun audience is towards how they support their artist. And you know, I want to question a few things basically that came to my mind. नमस्कार, क्या हाल है?
Oh, my man.
क्या हाल है?
थोड़ा दूर हो गया. Yes sir.
टच कर लिया हमने आखिरकार.
हाँ जी.
कहाँ हो?
सही.
घर चलो, घर आओ. So basically we wanted to encourage and urge Dehradun audience as a whole. मतलब like
yeah, absolutely. Like,
you know, usually
the kind of enthusiasm which should be there for gigs and especially the local artists, man.
Correct.
We all support, you know, लोग Coldplay को बहुत support करते हैं. I also love them, and you know, Diljit, all those, these are excellent guys. But if you're not supporting artists where you're coming from, I don't think what kind of
city you're coming from, yes, man.
The city that you're coming from, I don't know what kind of a culture we'll be building.
A lot of people are asking us कि यार ये ना charges ये होने चाहिए, वो होना चाहिए. We wanted to do honestly we wanted to do a free event, but we need to charge people something.
That's not sustainable as well.
That's not sustainable for the artists, for the people, for the organizers, for everybody. So we kept the price as low as possible. You know, like we kept 500 rupees for
and even the discounted.
Usually in Dehradun, all the tickets that I have seen, except the early bird tickets, are somewhere around 800 rupees, you know, 799 and stuff like that. We kept it like 200-300 below that. Also, for the registered people, you know, the day we announced the gig, we announced also that we are giving away 10 tickets. And for that 10 tickets, we opened a registration RSVP link and registration link, and more than 500 people registered onto that. So, in my opinion, more than 500 people were interested in coming to the event.
Absolutely.
For those people, 10 we gave away. Obviously, you know, like there were 10 winners for the entire competition, and that was completely on luck because there is an app that we used to get the 10 lucky winners from the entire list. Then we circulated, because we had their data, we circulated a link where we discounted the ticket for 100 rupees. Like now the ticket was for 399, imagine. I think only 20 people converted from that. You know, to be honest. And these are like legit.
These are pennies, man. And
I'm saying like you were interested, you know, like to come to the event. And I'm not complaining, I'm just urging. When you were interested, you could have spent that kind of money for your artist basically, and it will eventually not go into their pockets. The Cat, Aniket, Two Fisted made 0 rupees from this entire event. We wanted to put together something for you, and we wanted to put together like something which creates and sets a benchmark here in Dehradun, in terms of events and everything. We wanted you to be, get benefit from. And again, this is not in complaint. This is my opinion, and I want to very clearly say, and I want to urge the people watching this currently, if you want the scene to grow, if you're boasting about the artists you support, and you're going out of the city and you're talking about, like how the hip hop and the Dehradun artist scene, and especially even if you're talking about Dehradun, you need to, empower the artists, you need to invest in the artists. That is the least you can do. I'm not saying that,
I mean,
paisa baat do ya wo kar do. But I'm saying
each rupee is hard-earned money.
And we also understand a lot of people cannot invest. You guys are young. You want your you ask money from your parents. I don't know. Like, this is something which is happening for you, for the entire scene, for the culture. The least you can do is invest. And for the people who don't have that kind of money, in the future events we have taken a note, and we will give away tickets to those people who are actually in need. And you won't believe, more than 50 people on this event basically. There were total 400 people, including guests and invitees and people who we just let in
at the gate.
At the gate, yeah.
From, different cities, different states.
And they didn't have that kind of money, and we just let them in.
We had to waive off cover charges for a lot of the people because
more than 150 people we didn't ask for cover charges, man. And the cover charges is basically very simple. You have to pay it in advance. Like, in any case, you're going to come into the club, you're going to buy a beer, you're going to buy a water bottle, you want to buy a juice maybe, you can use that coupon. वो जैसे हम लोग फेट में जाते थे ना अपने स्कूल में, like you had to buy those coupons and then use it in the fete. It's like that only, yeah. Like, it's very simple. And people didn't know about it. People were having a lot of havoc at the gate about, and chaos at the gate about the cover charges. I don't know, like, so how can we tackle this? A lot of times, whenever we do event, especially in Dehradun, we tend to, हमारा outcome ये होता है कि यार हम दोबारा नहीं करेंगे. Like, this is something that comes to my mind because a lot of times कि यार we are doing it for the people. We are doing it for the artists, for the people, and people to enjoy. And eventually, we come back as organizers and as people, come back and just say, yaar, we don't want to do it. I don't know why this happens, I think this is something that people need to think about, that's why I wanted to say, and a lot of it might look like a rant, but recently we have come up with this event, and there were a lot of improvements, feedbacks that we were discussing. So that's it, like that.
Yeah, it goes both ways. We'll also try our best to improve.
Yeah, and also like if you can give us like feedback, like how we should have improved our gigs. Like, we are very open to it, to be honest. Like, just write down in the comments. Now, like, generally, Dhruv, what's your opinion like on the event, and how did you find it? Like,
to be honest, first of all, I enjoyed a lot, and I think like the enthusiasts are less in comparison right now in the city, but I think that will increase. It takes time. Hip hop is fighting an uphill battle. I think it will take some time to get there, and people will start vibing it more eventually. But when I see people singing the Cat songs and Aniket songs,
that completes the entire words.
Yeah, it just fills my heart with pride. And how people were just kind of creating a mosh pit on an unreleased song. That was also very kind of surprising for me, to be honest, because I thought people will need some time to warm it up and all that. But no, it was straight banger as soon as it got played.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I mean, overall it was very good. Of course, things could be always better. But I think in this event itself, a lot of people would have realized, how cover charges, clubs, tickets, events, these things work.
Yeah.
I think people will eventually naturally get, educated in that sense, in the event world and in the gig world. So that will happen slowly. But you know, whoever showed up, I mean, huge shout out to you guys. You know, whoever showed up at the gig, and you know, thanks a lot for your love. I think that's what keeps everyone going as well. The artists, you know, us, the back end crew, everyone. We're just doing it for you. You know, eventually. So yeah, glad you could be a part of it. Whoever was not a part of it, you know, there is always a next time, and you know, we'll be. I think Dehradun will have to wait a little bit for the next event now, but the other cities we definitely. I mean, we're getting a lot of messages from Delhi. You know, a lot of listeners over there.
Bombay.
So, Bombay as well. So these two cities are on the pipeline for us, and let's see. I think one thing we forgot to mention is, you know, I think this is one of the first hip hop gigs in Uttarakhand which was, you know, backed by a proper company, which is Royal Enfield in this case.
Man.
And you know, huge shout out to the Royal Enfield fam. You know, they've always been the real ones. They support the raw ones, and this time as well. I mean, UK Saath se, it's an
like
emotion.
from Hustle to Spotify gigs to Dehradun, you know, like, and
They're everywhere and at the right places. I think
Yeah.
at the right time. So huge props to them. You know, for just making this scene come alive and just supporting us.
Correct.
In that sense.
I think that's huge, basically, you know, like, because a global brand like Royal Enfield, you know, like, investing and, you know,
It
like
gives
supporting.
you a lot of validation. To be
Yeah.
honest, it gives you a lot of validation. You believe in what you've been doing for years.
Hmm.
I mean, UK Saath se, the song released, you know, 6 years ago.
Hmm.
And I think last year only we did a campaign with Hunter.
Yeah.
And it was a very it
Full
was like
circle moment.
it was a full circle moment for us, you know. It was like closing one of our loops
Hmm.
in our life. So it felt awesome, and they came and supported us here as well.
And to sum it up, I'll say that, to be honest, you know, it's a stepping stone towards what we want, what we envision as a team in the Uttarakhand hip hop scene and Dehradun hip hop scene. You know, we are towards that goal where we see, you know, like, people accepting hip hop. Hip hop was in this town since forever, you know, and will be forever, you know, like, because
Hip hop and Dehradun both go, you know, long way
it's
back.
a synonym,
long
I
way
think,
back.
you know, like, when you talk about,
If you look at the streets, and I think we were always very inspired by, you know, DMX and Rough Riders as well.
Yeah, man.
Since our childhood, and Chris Pfeiffer and all.
yeah,
So I think Dehradun was not just about, you know, following trends and copying what was happening, but just kind of making its own way. The scene
because
has.
whatever makes you feel sane in this chaotic world, you know, like, in this insane world, is basically what one want to do. And for us, basically, it was hip hop, and it will always be.
Hip hop is something which gives you light and hope,
Freedom to
and
express.
freedom. Because, you know, sometimes you have to be a little rebellious. You know, the world tries to put you down. A lot of things happen, and it's a competitive world.
Hmm.
But hip hop, I think, first of all, gives you hope
Correct.
that you can survive here.
Hmm.
And once you get hope and once you survive, then you start giving back.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Nipsey and all these guys,
Hmm.
who've come a full circle, they tend to do. And even I think, what I feel personally, you know, Dakat also, we see what on ground work he does.
Man, like, he is always
So-
in the streets and helping people, you know, going out there. And also our the NGO, it was seeded by he and his friends, basically, Janlok Seva. That's a vertical where we all are basically trying to do the good for the society. So, like, when you're investing in people like Dakat, Aniket, to Wisted, you're actually investing in society, actually. You know,
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
ask me. So because
Because
these are the people who are going to give
These
it back.
guys are not afraid to get their hands dirty.
Yeah,
to
man.
Get and help their society in whatever way possible. So yeah, I think
Yeah, all the social issues, from, you know, like, cutting trees from near the airport to basically helping people in the winters, basically, who didn't have enough clothes to, you know, survive, and
just
the
doing
streets.
whatever they can.
Yeah.
You know, blood donation camps, you know, doctor checkup camps, health checkup camps.
And special shout out to, like, Team Warriors and Shivam Bauguna to, you know,
Yeah,
like, be at the forefront of leading this initiative.
Always where the action is, always where the help is needed.
Man.
These guys are there. I mean, huge shout out to all you know, Janlok Seva, Team Warriors, Shivam, Dakat, all these guys, man, Rashti, all of these guys are
Yeah,
giving their all.
They're always, like investing, and we try to do whatever we can in our capacity.
We try
by the
to
way.
support these guys. I think I can say
Uh.
because we know it's for a larger cause.
Yeah.
It's not for an individual cause. So
Correct.
it gives you just a little bit of satisfaction and contentment. I think. See, I think the journey how it goes is, first you pay your dues. You have to pay your dues. Whatever in life you've accumulated
Yes.
in the past. But
Correct.
once you've done that, you start giving back.
Correct.
You start giving back to the society, to the to your culture, basically, because you want it to flourish in the future, and you want the world to be a certain way. We want hip hop to be everywhere. That's why we keep rapping what we rap.
Thank you so much, guys, for listening to us, and we've just reaching our destination, I think. And catch you next time. These are the conversations that we are going to have in Gypsies.
And let us
Too
know
much
your
often.
thoughts as well. It's
Yeah.
very raw and real.
Yeah.
We just wanted to present it to you. So just let us know how.
And if you want us to talk about anything, just let us know in the comments.
Yeah,
and
give
we'll
us
try
some
to-
topics, because we have a lot of things, but we are not sure what you will be interested in.
Yeah, man.
So
we
do let
just-
us know your thoughts, man.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Let's go.